Well, holy cow, there we go. Everybody, welcome to the Arkansas Diamond Report with Dudley Dawson. I'm Jason Pattison. Thank you guys for joining us today. We've had a couple of week hiatus here, and we wanted to get back in the swing of things with you all, and we follow that up with a sweep of the Texas Longhorns. Dudley, how you doing today?
Well, I think we pretty much said we wouldn't come back till they swept the number one team in the country. So there you
Yeah.
go. Got that taken care of this weekend. What a big boost for this baseball team. The SEC championship is probably out of the reach, but we'll see how it plays itself out. But as you know, the big thing is to get one of those 8 national seeds
Yeah.
to save our fearless leader, Lanny Beaver, some money from us traveling to cover baseball, have it all here at home.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's kind of what they're pointing toward now, I think.
I think honestly, it would be super beneficial if they were able to get in that top four. Now, top eight, yes, I get that, but top four, I really feel like that would work out a lot better for them. And if they get to the super regionals, I don't want to jinx anything yet because the last 2 seasons have been kind of a, I don't know, but more of a crap showing, more or less, in the postseason. Almost like that shitastic showing by the Texas Longhorn pitching this weekend.
Yeah, and obviously they are missing their ace, but they still had good pitching throughout the year. I mean, true evidence of that is their 6'6" closer that came in and given up 4 runs the entire year. Yet he comes in and gives up three on one swing of the bat to Charles Davalon.
Beautiful hit
What
too.
an attack! Yeah, what an attack they had at the plate this weekend. Had some balls leave the yard, but also did got some runners moved over and did some other things to put up runs.
He just uncoiled and uncorked on that ball too, because he had that 12-6 really working well. He had Davalon kind of fooled up until that point, and then he got that one pitch, and that was it.
Yeah, and you hear so much about lefties against lefties, and he hung in there and did what he needed to do in that at bat. He's been a godsend for them this year. What a
Yes.
find that that they had today. And we all kind of wondered, everybody that was going to those scrimmages, he's batting first every time. What made him the guy? Because he was hitting okay in fall ball,
Yeah.
but he wasn't how he's doing it now. But as Coach Van Horn said, he saw a lot of things, a lot of movement up there. He irritates pitchers, and that's one thing to do is to get under somebody's skin if you're the starting pitcher, and he's done a really good job of that. And then obviously he's been followed by some sluggers, including some like Brent Irondale here getting back with it now.
Yep. And I want to point something out really quick. And I understand that Devlin is a very hard out. He takes a lot of good pitches that are sometimes like borderline. And that's what I feel like has frustrated some of these pitchers. But one thing I want to make note of is the guy that bats behind him. And I know that folks are going to sit there and kind of scratch their head, but Justin Thomas Jr. batting at the bottom of the lineup basically is a second leadoff hitter. I know that Bobby Cox used to do that back in the day with the Braves and try to have that perpetual thing can keep going there on the back end of the lineup. But with Justin Thomas Jr. doing what he's been doing at the plate, has been kind of a protective blanket for Davalon also at the plate.
Yeah, he was a tremendous football and basketball and track baseball athlete in Georgia. And I think you're seeing why Georgia wanted him so much in the first
Mm-hmm.
place. That's where he originally went, spent one season there, then went to the junior college, kind of made a name for himself again there. And Arkansas got, a real break in getting him in here. And as you said, that 9-1 combo might as well be 1-2. Uh,
Yeah.
the length of the lineup with him hitting as he is now, and I think they call themselves the basement crew or something like that. Uh, they've done a really good job at setting up the top of the lineup, and that top of the lineup was obviously busy this weekend, driving runs in, getting runners over, making things do, and they didn't have to score many runs those first 2 days because of the pitching.
No, and I want to also throw this a couple stats out there for y'all too. So over the weekend, Arkansas struck out Texas 38 times, 38 on the number one team in the nation. Now, granted, Texas got theirs. They struck out the Hogs 24 times, but that second game really was the head turner with the 15 strikeouts between Aiden Jimenez, Gabe Gackle, and Gage Wood. It's really nice to see where all of these relievers only had one appearance this weekend, and that is really setting them up well towards the end of May.
No more midweek games, so you won't have to wear down anybody pitching staff wise. They're
Yeah.
hoping to get Parker Cole back. Obviously, Carson Wiggins is out for the year, but it appears that he didn't major. It's not a major injury. It's just one they're going to be guarded with, and let him get healed and come back next year. But it is a I can't put into words how big it is for Gage Wood to come back and look like the guy that they thought he would be at the start of the year. It's just a shame he had that injury against Michigan on I think it's Sunday, February 23rd. But he came back last week, and he's kind of a mild mannered kid, unless he's
Hmm.
pitching, and you could see the
And it's over.
enthusiasm, and I mean he told one of those Texas batters to go sit down, you know. There was some
It was fiery.
a little venom going out there this weekend. He's an Arkansas kid. He grew up, or he has been around people who know what the rivalry was like. I'm gonna say he grew up in the rivalry because he wasn't born when they were last time they played college.
You know, I think it was really helpful also. One, Otis and I talked about this, and then probably about 30 minutes later, I'm pretty sure that Carl Ravitch was watching our podcast because he made the same note of it about 30 minutes after Otis and I did. It was extremely beneficial for that game to get rained out up in
Mhm.
Springfield because that gave all of those arms a little extra rest. And also on top of that, with Zach Root going 8 innings.
Yeah, and you had everybody ready to go, and they needed it. I think you said is they needed a breather both mentally and physically. The
Mhm.
mental break was, not having to play. The physical break was not having to get on a bus and ride up to Springfield and and play a game. And you can say, well, that's not that big a deal. Well, it is when you got to load up. You got to be there 2 hours ahead of time. You got to come back after the game. You do interviews, all that
That's
thing.
going
It's,
to be
it's just
late.
it's just a it's just a nuisance during the middle of the week, and that's why most teams don't have midweek games in the last 2, 3, sometimes 4 weeks of the season because they're trying to get themselves
Mhm.
revved up for, in this case, a 16-team SEC tournament that will be happening in 3 weeks, I guess.
Do you think that's something that Dave might change going forward? Seeing kind of how, and I know that he's seen about damn near everything that you and I have ever seen, and then some to eternity. But do you think it might be something where he might want to change it up a little bit, where he front loads the midweek games, and then say, for instance, like this last month, maybe 5 weeks, where he just cuts those off?
Be an excellent question to ask, and I think I'm right in that tomorrow's a Spotters Club meeting. I have to
Mhm.
double check my notes there, but it's something we'll get a chance to talk to him. Obviously, I think it's a huge thing that is helping them at least at this time of the year. As you said, he's been doing this so long and has had so much success. He knows when he needs to get some pictures, some work, and all that. But I think it had turned into a grind this time.
Yep, and you go from 3 straight series losses where you were in every one of those series. You get a week off. And it's crazy and amazing how one day, just one day of rest, can turn this whole thing around, possibly. Because I don't know what happens if they have to play that game in Springfield. I mean, nobody does. But seeing the tangible effect on this team and how their trajectory changed so drastically, so quickly, going into the end of the season, this time last year, it was starting to happen again, like what was happening the last 3 weekends previous. It just kept continuing, but this weekend was completely different.
Yeah, and there was just like a breath of fresh air. They were able to relax, just reset, and obviously got it done. Again, the pitching, great pitching helps you mentally as well. And they went out and got that done this weekend. Somebody going 8 innings, that's unheard of this year. Obviously you've had a couple of get into the seventh and all that, but it was an uplifting experience for them. They again no midweek game this week, and they go to LSU later in the week. But yeah, I'm sure we'll learn some good stuff. At there is a Swatters Club meeting tomorrow at 11, so I'm sure we'll see some good stuff out of that.
Um, Nate Thompson had a good weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah. The and you know, you enjoy it when your team scores a run. It makes you look like the coach you've always been, regardless of what the naysayers may say. Let's do that. Let's use that term. That's a nice
That's
safe term.
that's a good safe term there, yeah, because it's the quality plate appearances that they had this weekend. They drew 22 walks over the weekend. 19 of those came in the first two games. They were scoring more than they were actually getting hits, and it was because, again, quality at bats, making the pitcher pay with guys on base with free passes. That is not a that's not a formula for success. And if Texas keeps that up, they may be out pretty quick, maybe like Arkansas last year.
Yeah, and as we said, you know, right now their ace is out, and
Mhm.
you know they're going to go into a situation where there'll be a 1 seed somewhere. They'll play a 4 seed, but it's that second game that could really get them. You know, obviously Arkansas unloaded on Grubbs, their pitcher, their second day pitcher, and they were able to really take a shot. You know, at going for the series sweep after that, knocking him around so much early.
Yep. So let's move over to softball for a few. Reason why is because one, Arkansas got a hell of a great series victory over LSU at home this weekend. That first game was kind of a really, I wouldn't say consistent. It was kind of an odd game, but Arkansas was able to outslug. They got a huge lead, gave it up, took the lead back, finished it off. That second game, though, I'm going to tell you what, Dudley, I have never seen a strike zone move so damn much in a softball or baseball game for that matter as it did on Friday against LSU because you could see that there was visible signs of frustration from all three pitchers that came in with Harrison, also with Robin Heron, and third the third pitcher I cannot remember off the top of my head. Can't hear you, my guy.
Reese
Oh,
came in
Reese
and
Berline.
pushed it out there.
Yeah, they were all over the place. They were trying inside, outside, both sides of the plate. They were not getting calls, and it was kind of the both ways because I felt like that the strike zone was moving every half inning. Whenever I tweeted that out, because it seemed like every time you finally got it hammered down, it moved again, and it was nice to see Arkansas come back on Saturday and finish that thing out. Also with Reagan Kramer with her last game as a Razorback.
Yeah, and the as Coach Dykes said that Friday's game was bizarre. Excuse me, Thursday's game was bizarre. Friday's was bizarre in terms of the umpiring, the coaches sprinting to the disc when somebody batted out a turn, and you know, it was just a strange weekend. Saturday was so calm. Just your nice little 6-0 victory with Peyton Burnham, you know, taking all the excitement out of it just by pitching that well on her, I believe it was 19th birthday. And she's really come along and earned that spot as a co-ace, if not
Mhm.
the ace. She seems to be pitching a little bit better down the stretch. But they're set up to roll. And as in the press conference yesterday, I was talking with Coach Deifel. Asked her a question about, you know, you're going to get to come back home, obviously, and she feels like they've already done enough to get a national seed. So they're set up in a good situation too, and they feel good about themselves. And I do. We, she said two other things that kind of piqued my interest. Number one, she said, "What a spicy crowd they had that was getting after the umpires," you know, and I think she enjoyed that. And then she just, you know, did what a good coach or a great coach has to do. When your players don't show up ready to play and get their heads handed to them, you got to call them out. You know, some people call it throwing the team under the bus, but sometimes you have got to say what you mean. And fortunately, I had a coach in Bill Keaty, football coach in Newport, who pointed out all my flaws and all my strengths. And so
Yeah.
to be a great coach, you got to know when to prod your team a little bit. And she did Thursday, and they responded on she did Friday, and they responded on Saturday. You got to get back to the regular days. I'm
You know,
used to Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
on on Friday night, I most notably kept panning over to Courtney, and you kept seeing her just try to be calm, not say anything, because I think if she was to really talk, I think it might have got her in a little bit of trouble with the umpires with how they were approaching things all weekend. Um, I think it's nice to also see where the crowd is more of an extension of Coach Deifel and her frustrations. She can't vent some of the things that fans can get away with saying, and I think that with her making note of that, she kind of felt felt great about that because they were able to say something she couldn't.
Yeah, and Arkansas has some really good fans in that front row. Rick B and his crew will get
Yeah,
after you. Now, I thought they were going to come to blows this weekend with the LSU super fan who just
yeah,
and he's done the same thing each year they've come here, but he just seemed a little more fired up than usual. And I thought there was going to be some fisticuffs in the stands. I would have enjoyed it, I think.
I would have
But
too.
what a weekend for these two teams. And I think I wrote last week that they were trending in opposite directions. Well, now both of them are trending the right way. Obviously, they go right into conference play. And
Yeah.
when we do this show, and we're going to do it, get back to our Mondays next week. By that time, we should have the bracket and who else is going to be here and all that.
Yep. Also, our fantastic photographer here, John D. James, such a huge sweep for the Hogs, just dominated the series.
Yeah, he is he's a baseball fan from way back, and he still has those feelings about Texas, you can tell, and so I'm sure I know he enjoyed it this weekend. So
Especially right behind the dugout where he gets to sit too. My
mhm,
goodness.
mhm. Yeah, and hey, and somebody took a picture of him taking a picture this week. That was a pretty good picture.
See, and I've told him before. I was like, man, dude, you look good in the camera. You're not breaking it. The pictures come out. Just to, embrace it. he, it's almost too humble. He says, I just don't like him.
Well, people
But
have always told me I had a face for radio. I don't think that's a compliment, but that's okay. I got a hot wife and good-looking kids and all that. So
hey, that's all that matters, man. That just means that you're doing great in life right there. Um,
all about the Riz, baby. All about the Riz.
oh man, I want to go over to is that Tatum?
Tatum is outside, but he appears to be
Yes.
upset about something. He's gotten
Oh.
more of a bass bark these days now.
Now, well, hey, that just means that he's going to be a good watchdog, man. That's exactly what you want too. But I do want to go over really quick. Players of the game. Also, the attendance for the weekend total was 32,960. Um, that right there is right around 11,300. That was the average between Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think that it also helped having this series on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday versus a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because with having, we've talked about the Missouri State game, but moving it up a little bit kind of gives those guys an extra blow on Sunday where they don't have such a quick turnaround going into next weekend.
Yeah, and I think the girls softball team got it that kind of thing 2 weeks ago. I guess it was when they were playing Colorado State. Had their set. It was a Thursday or Friday. It was a Thursday Friday thing, and they ended up,
Mm-hmm.
obviously not playing the third game in that series, and that gave them a break. And I don't think they came back and practiced till Tuesday. I think that refreshed them, and I think that's what happened with the baseball team this week. I think what Tatum is trying to say is he's a big Bree Ellis fan. I think he's trying to say congratulations to her getting drafted number two
Yep.
in the Athletes Unlimited softball league draft last night. as I've said many a time, she's my favorite quote on campus, and she's fearless at the plate and on social media. Love it.
So, Vahiva Aloy had himself probably the best weekend. He was 5 of 10 from the plate. He totaled out with, it looks like here it was 5 hits. Yeah, 5 hits, four runs scored. He was excellent in the field. Also, Brett Irondale finally getting off the snide. Him and also Carson Bowles had a great weekend too as well. I was really happy to see Irondale get off the snide though, because I mean, let's face it, man. He was having a little bit of a tough go of it. Him, Reese Robinette also. Robinette had 6 RBIs, 2 hits, and 2 home runs on top of that. And that's when you've got a long first baseman like Robinette that's able to make some plays maybe that Koschel wasn't able to make, or getting Brent off of that snide because he was right below 300 again. You need your third baseman really with that pop to come back, and I think they're finally getting it.
Yeah, and it's kind of out of necessity. Obviously, you lost Nolan Souza for the year. Gabe Frazier's been having trouble with his back.
Yep.
He's done a really good job at staying in there and trying to do the best he can. But I just think that especially against right-handed pitching, we're going to see a lot of Reese Robinette, who went 778 days without a home in between homers, and then he got two, drove in six. He had 0 home runs and 2 RBIs coming into the game. He had his shining moment there, and I think we'll see him a lot down the stretch. He played a lot of third base in the scrimmages, not that much first base, but I think we all know where that's headed right now.
I think so too. Um, Out of the weekend, was there anything reported as far as injuries, or did Arkansas pretty much get out of there pretty okay?
Well, they did their best not to play Logan Maxwell and try to let him rest up, get that hamstring in order. Carson Wiggins, wasn't going to be there. Parker Cole, Hunter Dietz, those are guys you're hoping to have down the end of the year. Dietz, hasn't pitched yet. They keep putting him on the roster. We'll see if it happens this weekend. But between that and just got a notification here, Missouri now 0-24 after losing to Georgia 4-2 today.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you, man. I don't know if I've seen a SEC baseball team as bad as them in a
Mhm.
long time, too.
And Arkansas, obviously LSU's right there with them. Going into the weekend, and haven't seen an update on their scores today. But the obviously that's going to be you want to get as high a seed as you can, be it the 2 seed or whatever, and you'll have the opportunity to solidify that a little bit if you can go down there and get 2 or 3. You always try to get 2 or 3 on the road, and I think that's what they'll try to do. This weekend they're losing to Texas A&M 6-4 in the second game today. In the first game, it looks like as we do this right here on
I
air.
was gonna say, yeah, we're doing this live right now as we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. It looks like
Ooh,
Tennessee won their first game against Auburn, but yeah, it's 6-4 in. So Arkansas could have a little opening there.
could
If
be
that game completes itself out.
that Florida game, 22-3 over South Carolina at South Carolina today. That's a drumming. Good lord. But looks yeah, Auburn beat Tennessee first game 8-1, final in 7. So yeah, a couple more games to get rounded out here in the last day of the weekend. Ole Miss is up 6-2 right now on Oklahoma, top of the ninth. So
Yeah, and we'll have obviously, as I said, we get the Swatters Club tomorrow, and also new polls, which I'm sure they will go back up in several of them after
yeah,
taking out number one. I don't expect them to jump into maybe the top 3 or 4, but 5 to 7 range is probably where they'll be.
I think so too. Really quick, I want to look ahead for just a second too, with Arkansas heading to Alex Box next weekend to LSU. Uh, I know that it would be great to have them get a series win, but is it imperative at this point after them basically just drumming the crap out of Texas?
I think that the best thing you could do is, I hate to sound like a coach, we'll go down there and play one game at a time, see if Root
Mhm,
can come back. LSU is going to be, looks like a reeling just a little bit. But, we know the quality of their program and obviously how good they've been over the years. They do not have a Paul Skeens like
mhm.
guy this year. They have some very, very good pitchers, but not, a mainstay. And if you can get the innings that you got out of Root and Wood, uh, you know, coming up and figure out the third game because
Mhm.
you can bring all three of those guys in that second game that pitched this week. You've got Will McIntyre and some other guys if Root needs help, toward the end of the first game, and then but if you go down there and get two good pitched games, then you'll take your chances on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it would be really. I think it would be really good for them to get the two. I don't know if it's imperative at this point because you round out with Tennessee at home the weekend after that in the final series. I think I don't want to say this team was going to look ahead, but if it any time of the season it was, this would have probably been it because the series finale with Tony Vitello coming back to Razorback Stadium, it's one of those things where I think that the fans, like what you said with Coach Deifel, I think the fans are going to get a little spicy with that weekend.
Yeah, I know people don't like it when I say this, but I love Tony, love his attitude. He's me when I was younger.
It's a competitor.
Uh, yeah, and I look forward to seeing him here. He has great respect for Arkansas's program, and certainly has great respect for DVH. But when they get together, they may have great respect for each other, but they want to beat the crap out of each other. And their team, obviously, Tony got him one last year.
Hmm.
Obviously, DVH would love to get him one this year.
I think so too. I mean, who doesn't like a natty? Who does not like a natty? Well, Dudley, really quick before we get out of here, I saw that the women's basketball team had a new addition that came across last week. Can you talk to us a little bit about her?
Yeah, she's 6'1", played at Oklahoma State. Maria and Mrs. And is a someone that's from Spain, played on the same professional club team that Cristina Sanchez did. So they were former teammates, and obviously, Arkansas doesn't have a ton of height coming back. Right now, I think they've got two 6'3s and a couple of 6'1s. As she continues to round out the roster, she's probably not done. But there's it's the roster is getting filled out, but there's not a lot of there certainly is not as many people that jump in the women's basketball portal as they do the men. So we'll just see how it plays itself out. But she appears to know what she's doing and is getting some players that she's very familiar with. Obviously, getting the two from ORU were really their two best players over there.
Mhm.
I've they not only lost a coach, they lost a couple of their best players. But that's how things work these days.
Yep. Well, we will be back not tomorrow, but next Monday after the LSU series, Monday, 7 p.m. You guys can catch us live then. Also, Otis and I will be live 7 o'clock at Rogers' location for the Arkansas football report. So for Dudley and myself, Jason, we will see you guys next Monday for the baseball or for the Arkansas Diamond report. Y'all take care and go Hogs.